Welcome to the Right Now Show. I'm Judy Saxon.
And I'm Charlie Redner. This is the show where we put the emphasis on writers, writings, and I'm going to emphasize, Judy, the arts today.
Yes, absolutely.
How you been and what have you been up to?
Well, I've become a news junkie.
Tell me about it.
Well, there's always breaking news every day.
That's
right?
Yes.
Right?
I guess there is.
And what have you been up to?
I'm in the middle now. As you know, I'm writing my book, and
Yes.
I'm now with my editor. She's sending back a lot of work for me to do. As I send her chapter, I like to work chapter by chapter, and she's sending it back to me, so she makes me think that I have to work at it.
That's exciting, though.
Yeah.
And also exciting is our guest today, Phil Silverman. That name may be familiar because he often writes letters to the editor. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Phil. He's a baby boomer. He was born in Jersey City, New Jersey. He's always written. He has about 250 bylines in music magazines. His name is acknowledged in several published music biographies and reference books. In 2016, he published Boomerang, which has poems, plays, lyrics, essays. Welcome, Phil.
Hi, Phil. Welcome. And before you start strumming away there, it's obvious we're going to hear some music. I'm going to give you 5 items, and I want you to rank them. I'm just going to give them in the first order I've written them. Jersey Shore, music, old-time TV, I'm talking about 1950s era, baseball, and writing plays.
Probably writing plays, baseball, Jersey Shore, and the final 2 about even.
Okay.
That was an interesting question. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well,
And it hits home because I've been decluttering my apartment finally.
Oh.
And
notice you didn't throw away the guitar, though.
didn't throw away the guitar, it's a little musty, dusty. And you know, it's so much fun to find things that you wrote when you were 24.
Oh, yes.
And I'm glad hoarding can be a serious issue, but for me it worked. And I managed to hold on to 99% of everything I've ever written. And you find things, and you know, you can line things out and make believe it was originally that good.
So what would you like to start out with? You have a song you'd
I
like
have
to...
a song. I like to write songs, and especially when I can write them and perform them in the style of an original artist.
Oh, okay.
And I have a complete collection of Fats Domino.
Oh.
My goodness.
Well, not all the vinyl.
Yeah.
That'd be impossible, but
Yeah.
the music is so brilliant, so simple, and I don't really believe in reincarnation, but I may have come from New Orleans and grew up in Dixieland in 1910. Just love the trumpets and the horns. So Fats gave us 89 years. Anyway, this is a tribute to Fats. It's not about Fats, it's just written in his style.
Okay, let's
And I
hear
called it I'm All Alone in the World. Took a walk in the park. My girlfriend, she wanna talk, but now I see it's not about me. I'm all alone in the world. If they send me off to war, you can drive my Cadillac car. But now I see it's not about me. I'm all alone in the world. If I leave this mortal coil, rotate my tires and check my oil, but now I see it's not about me. I'm all alone in the world. I'm all alone in the world. I'm all alone in the world.
Wow.
Thank you.
I think I heard a little of influence of Elvis getting that
bit.
from the
Elvis,
South.
That's funny because I was a bit of a rebel when the Beatles came out. And
Yeah.
I said, these guys are good. But I didn't want to admit it. I said, so a friend of mine talked me into going to see Viva Las Vegas with Elvis. So for a year, I said, I'm going to stick with the 50s.
Yeah.
And then the Beatles just got better and better, and Elvis's career.
Yeah.
At that
I wrote a poem about that. There's no room on the stage anymore for Elvis, you know.
Oh, wow. But it's now what they're doing is they take the master recordings and sometimes they do a great job in reissuing on CD.
Yeah.
But sometimes they add 100 instruments to a very basic production, and I think they're ruining these things. But I love the harmonics of the 50s.
Yeah.
So I write songs in the style of Johnny Cash or Elvis,
Right.
and I have a ball.
That's great.
And you remembered all the words without them in front
That
of
was
you.
lucky.
Wow. Oh, and what a nice voice you have,
thank
too.
you.
Absolutely.
I like doing voices. I've always done them.
Really? Wow.
Especially, I could do Elvis. And then in theater, I've done Groucho Marx. I did an original play in the format of his old TV talk show, quiz show.
Oh, yes.
I played Groucho. I also wanted to mention the great Tony Barr.
Yes.
Starred in a play that I wrote called Jolson at Home, and he was fantastic. And
He does Jolson with the gloves.
But this is a
and
little bit different, though.
mimic-
He acted as Jolson,
Okay.
and this took place in around July of 1950 when he was obsessed with making a tour to Korea to entertain the troops, and his doctor warned him against it. And so the play involves people visiting the house there, Jolson and his new young bride, and people trying to talk him out of going, and you know he's going.
Yeah.
And Tony did a great job, and also did his brilliant mime. So that was a
Yeah.
great experience as a sort of a mixed media writer, where not just writing for myself, which is fine, or for a book, but for a stage presentation, which is even more fun. It's a whole new dimension. And then sometimes I inserted myself into the play.
How did you do
You
that?
know, like
What-
Alfred Hitchcock. Well, I played
Oh, okay.
I played Georgie Jessel.
Oh, all right.
One bright, and that came out pretty
That's a
good.
good beginning, yeah.
And
And that's in the book.
yes, and Joel, that's
Jolson.
right.
Yes, baby boomer.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
It's actually
no
in-
boomerang.
It's in the
boomerang.
book.
The
yes.
Boomerang.
The
Clever
Boomerang,
title.
and my next book is going to be The Boomerang Twice.
Oh.
Oh.
What a clever title.
Yes.
I hope so. And it's great to put out a scrapbook. I wish everybody could do that.
They can.
Not everybody has. Well, no,
Yeah.
what I just take my iPhone and I just snap pictures of.
Is that
This
what
all-
you did? Oh.
I did. See, this is an artifact. This is on parchment, really. See, this is
1740?
February 18th, 1976, and wrote this poem. Have you ever written a poem you just
Oh, sure.
flow? So I used to have a habit of waking up at 3:15 in the morning out of a dead sleep, and then I had the inspiration to grab a cassette recorder, and I don't know what you call that.
Yeah, and
I don't mean to get too new age, but I've been able to write some nice things.
it just came to you in the
I don't
middle
want
of
to
the
say
night.
automatic writing or all that stuff. I'm not knocking it.
No.
But some of the best things I wrote in February 18th, 1976, and
And when you read it, you say, I don't believe I wrote that. Do you ever get
Yeah.
that feeling? Like,
Yes,
how did that happen?
yes.
I'm not that good, I say to myself.
Where did that come from?
Right.
yeah, many times have I traveled that rocky path to your truth. I don't talk like that in restaurants.
It just
Baseball
came to me.
games.
Very interesting.
But it was fun.
3 o'clock is a great time for creativity.
Also,
Yeah.
if I could throw it, I wrote a poem for a magazine called The Manuscript, which was a production of New Jersey State University. It won a national award. I said, walk down the halls of my soul in your muddy boots and dungarees, and with pencil and paper take notes. I'll bet you can record what you see in a thesis I once wrote.
That's from your college paper?
College night, It's
And it
funny.
won a national award.
In 1970, of course, because of my contribution. No,
Yeah, oh, of course.
But, you know, I say everybody should declutter because you're going to find stuff
That
you
you-
forgot you bought. I say, this is cool. I was going to buy that next week.
I know.
Then I bring it to the library anyway. But
Right.
Yeah.
we
yeah.
have not to digress, we have a great, many avenues for disposal of things. Library,
Yes.
and not to promote a business, but up at the mall, we have the bookstore, and they take old books and treat them well. There's a
Oh,
lot, and
okay.
I leave some things, maybe I shouldn't be doing it, in the laundry, on that shelf, and people snap it up, so
Absolutely.
you feel like a good person
That's
has
right.
intercepted it.
You're sharing.
There's a lot of avenue for nostalgia, and sometimes it's hard to part with things.
Terribly.
And but it's been hard for me just to photograph these 8 by 10 pieces of paper and put them up on Facebook for all 3,500 friends.
Do you really have 3,500 friends?
No, he's
Well, I get about
exaggerating.
11 likes a year.
He's exaggerating.
So
I'm so gullible. I'd believe
no,
it.
it's true. 3,500 friends. People
Possible.
who know me
Yeah.
personally,
Possible.
about 112 or something like that.
But around the globe, you're
around the
you're
globe,
famous.
made some great friends.
In
As I
Australia.
was a radio producer and host for WBJB FM 90.5 in New Jersey, NPR Associated, and we were
Very
the
nice.
biggest non-commercial station in New Jersey. And
Now, what did you do as a
Yes.
producer?
well, I produced shows. I got the guests together, and
Okay.
usually they were record collectors or actual stars from the 50s who come on the show,
fun.
or I could record them.
Did you do the interviewing, or
I interviewed Gardner, I forget his first name, of the Coasters, Carl Gardner of the original Coasters,
Oh,
Little Richard.
yes.
I met with him in person and then had a telephone interview, and several of them, and
sounds like a
had
fun
so
gig?
much
How
fun.
old are you then? You're just in your-
33,
Yeah.
30, 33. I got to meet several of my idols
Oh,
in music,
yes.
and would have liked to have met Fats Domino, but I did get to meet Little Richard, who I think is the king of rock and roll.
Really?
Elvis is king of pop.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I said it. Yeah,
It must be true.
yes. So I've had fun mixing media with music, and
Well,
We didn't talk about your plays yet. We got to talk about some of the things that are in this fabulous book of
oh,
yours.
thank you. Oh boy, I
We
know
really
which
need
one
to.
you might bring up.
I counted, what, 6 plays? You have 6 plays in
Well-
there, maybe more. I lost count, perhaps.
I like it's
You
a,
love writing plays.
love writing plays, and the play, a short play, The Diner.
Yeah.
I can relate to all the characters. It takes place in 1970 and during the Vietnam War,
Right.
and a group of friends. And one friend decides to put politics aside, and he says, "I just have to do this. I have to go to Vietnam." And then the friends try to talk him out of it, and he goes, comes back injured. They called it handicapped in those days, and. I think it's one of my more nuanced plays, The Diner, 1970.
Right.
And I also wrote something a little controversial, and I don't
Jack
mean to make
Ruby
light of
and-
it.
yes, I was
Lee,
just going to
yeah.
say
I
that.
don't mean
yes.
to.
Oswald.
I don't mean to treat the subject lightly. It's
No.
horrifying, especially to the family. But I said, in this day and age, we're all up at 2 o'clock on YouTube and becoming an expert in a lot of things.
Yeah.
You wrote
I
about
don't
it.
need to be an expert. Anyway, I'm just picturing a 40-year-old guy. He's unemployed, and it's the situation of the day. And a lot of people needed to move back with their family. Things just didn't work out, and money lost, and opportunities lost in 2008 and afterward. And anyway, I don't want to give away the ending of the play, but this is called Ruby and Lee the Musical. and it's got a Mel Brooks feel to it. I wrote original songs, and at the same time, I put in my own 2 cents as to what I think really happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so I managed to mix, you might call it black humor, with
Mel Brooks
a
can
real,
do that too.
a
Boy,
real
he was-
premise, a real scenario. This is what I
Yeah.
really think happened.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very plausible alternative to the Warren Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got that out there, and some people found it offensive. I said I meant nothing of the kind. I just wanted also to comment on the new culture, the new internet culture,
Right.
how much time it takes from us, yet it gives
Yeah.
more than it takes, I think, and it unites people. I mean, just like when I came to California and I met all those people I went to high school with.
Oh,
And
really?
it didn't make much sense. I said, I went to get away from you guys. You know? California, to me, from New Jersey, I said, the blues and the greens and the
Yeah.
coloration. I said, my favorite color in New Jersey was cement.
Oh.
You know,
No,
ba-boom. But
that's North Jersey. I'm from Southern New
Southern
Jersey.
New
We
Jersey.
had green acres down there. I wanted to ask you about the 4
Yes.
bills, though. I mean, the
4
inspiration
bills.
for that, and I had to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, so I could try to keep it
Well,
straight who was who. But why
well,
did you
Bill,
do that?
I just listed them because they're really boring guys from 1976.
Right.
Basic interchangeable personalities, and they so lucky to. I'm not knocking civil service. Believe me, I was good to it, and it was good to me. Civil service,
Sure.
but they're civil servants, especially in the 70s. It was in the Carter era. It was very status quo and a sleepy environment, a lot of things by road, a lot of repetition, and there's just 4 boring guys who meet at the Jersey Shore in Bradley Beach, and
They were boring, but thank you for
I-
pointing that out to me.
they were,
after
well, they were
reading.
intentionally boring,
That's hard writing.
and I didn't base it on any friends or coworkers, and people, 4 people just having a personal conversation, but in public. And one guy just tries to keep it all together. But if anybody's worked in government, especially back in those days, it was quite different. And I was lucky to work for the state of New Jersey as a placement specialist. And also, if I could throw in, at the time, I helped establish a whole new program for the Department of Labor, and I think it went across the nation, which was the Professional Services Group, because we felt there was really no outlet for, at the time we called it 50-50-50, a 50-year-old person, middle management.
Done.
I forget what the
50.
third 50 was, but
Right.
they really had no help in finding a job because the jobs they found were actually not listed. Remember the old days of
Yeah.
classified, so
Right.
their jobs are not in the classified. So it was all about networking, which was a new word at the time.
Right.
And this is before the state bought us some computers. We had 2 1958 telephones, and we managed to get together the Professional Services Group
Wow.
and return a lot of professional, managerial, technical people right back into the labor force and rebuild the treasury. And this was done on $1.98, and
Wow.
we were allowed to be very creative. So the Professional Services Group networking program, I was part of that.
I have a question.
Yes.
You were a challenger at the Hudson County Board of Elections. Now, what was that?
Well, my father was a deputy superintendent of elections in Hudson County after he retired from metropolitan life, and he would get me a chance to work on election day and just review the ID of the potential voters before they went in to pull the curtain.
Oh, yeah.
I had to sort through their, a driver's license, utility
Oh,
bills. There's a
okay.
lot of ID.
Utility bills? too?
Whatever, to match up
Yeah,
addresses
yeah,
and so forth and so
wow,
forth. And so it was a
right.
great experience.
Yeah.
But for people who say that it's nobody pays attention, go on through. I mean,
Yes.
we agonized over every little thing. I think, not to get too political, but I think there is a lot of quote unquote illegal voters, but illegal votes that penetrate the system, that's a whole other story. So that was a great experience. And I like working for the government in service to people. My heart was really in, I would have loved to have written sitcoms.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought I wanted to do something out in society to meet real people in real situations, and maybe when I get in my late 50s, sitcoms still should be around. I think sitcoms haven't been recognized for, at their best, they're really like the best of Laurel and Hardy's.
Yes.
Two-reelers, they
Yes.
were 20 minutes long, and it was a real art form, and then all the people who put together two-reelers came to TV and found they could really do a two-reeler in a 30-minute spot, and so you have some wonderful shows in the spirit of Laurel and Hardy.
Yes.
Can you do one more song?
Oh,
so you
sure.
can put your guitar down. And
This is
you got
a tribute to Johnny Cash.
okay.
Oh.
Let's see if I can sound a little bit like him. Well, I'm tired, sick and tired of being cried on and lied on, letting bygones, be bygones. And now I'm rolling on, little baby, I'll soon be gone. You're gonna have to make it on your own. Well, I'm tired, sick and tired of being cried on and spied on, letting bygones, be bygones. You better face the fact, I'm Jack Kerouac. I'll leave you to your bonbons and Big Macs. Well, I'm tired, I'm sick and tired of being cried on and lied on, letting bygones, be bygones. Well, you going to scream and shout, what's this all about? I'll leave you to your beer, I hope it's stout. Thank you.
Wonderful.
I want to see the Phil
My
Silverman
tempo,
review.
my meter was a little off on that.
I want to see the Phil Silverman review. You could do a whole
Oh.
act all by
Yes.
yourself up on the stage, and I would pay to see.
And I tell intentionally bad jokes. No, I mean, it's in all seriousness, because I realize my reaction is much funnier than any material I can come up with, so I write them intentionally bad. The only problem is people screw me up by laughing
Oh,
loudly.
that's terrible.
And then
We
I
didn't get to talk about baseball.
Oh,
we
I
didn't
got
get
something
to,
on baseball.
We didn't talk about so many things.
I know.
Do we have a minute to talk about
Yeah,
baseball?
we had a little.
Being in New Jersey and 60 minutes away from the house that Ruth built and
Yes.
idolizing Mickey Mantle, I saw him hit a 460-foot home run.
Wow.
But my father took me to several games in the summer, and all the kids in the neighborhood, he hated the Yankees. You know, he hated them, and he would just go to sleep. He'd just wake me up in the 7th inning. And then we spent 3 innings finding a better seat because the old stadium had all these obstructions.
Oh.
Look at that, they put us in back of a beam again. Come on. Dad, it's we haven't settled the 3rd inning. Come on. Went back, finally found a spot in the 4th inning, and then in the middle of the 7th, time to go. Got to beat the traffic. I only saw 2 Mantle at bats there. Come on. But it was rough in those days, having my brother a Dodger fan, my father a Met fan, and my
you a
mother went
Yankee.
along with me as a Yankee fan.
Ah.
Well, that was a terrible household. I mean, you had a lot of dinners where
Oh.
there was a lot of heated discussions.
Especially in 1963, when that was in Sandy Koufax. Took years to get over that when the Yankees lost 4 games. But I love baseball. To me is it's really like an extended family.
Uh-huh.
And I always say, especially back in the old days, because I was used to having my relatives out of work half the year. That's a joke.
Wow. I can't even. We have
that
to-
was bad.
We're going to have to
Sorry
wrap
about
it up. You know, we didn't get to talk about Pete Rose and a lot of people in baseball but we have to wrap it up.
Oh, my
Oh, thank you.
goodness. Yes.
Judy, do you have
Wow.
any final word?
Oh, I was going to ask if you're going to write about Laguna Woods
He
more.
did.
Oh, I have.
You know,
There's
he
a
has a
play
little
inside.
play in there.
I
about-
know he does, but
First
that.
day in Laguna Woods, and I wrote that a little bit in the spirit of The Honeymooners, if you read
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I did. I loved it. Yeah.
It's modern. It's his modern stuff.
And
you know.
for a baby boomer, I write tributes to all the shows that I think most baby boomers came up with.
Yeah. Right.
And
right.
I had a ball doing it. And Miranda McPhee, I must say,
She's
a great,
amazing.
amazing
Wonderful.
person and
Yeah.
a
Wonderful.
wonderful friend and a wonderful coach too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got, Judy?
I've got, this is by Stephen King.
Yes.
I write because it fulfills me. I do it for the pure joy of the thing. And if you can do it for joy, you can do it forever.
I wish we had time to talk about this one. It's from Ezra Pound. Music rots when it gets too far away from the dance. Poetry atrophies when it gets too far from the music. What do I know?
Wow. Don't forget the Writers Club, second Friday of the month, 3 o'clock. The Performing Arts Center, Dining Room 1. I'm Judy Saxon.
And I'm Charlie Redner. See you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Phil
And
Silverman.
thank
You
you.
are terrific.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
I don't
Thank
want
you.
to be the next guest on this show.